When it comes to the rap battle beef situation with Drake and Kendrick Lamar, I hear a lot of people say that the culture is winning and that hip hop has won during this whole battle. And my question, as I really sit back and think about it, at what cost? Let's talk about it. Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on. So what's going on, you all? The last couple of days have been a doozy. Like, it's been a lot going on with this Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. And it seems as though we are ending at a close, considering Drake's last song that he put out. It seems as though Drake is giving himself a way out, and also the news coming out about Drake's bodyguard at his house. It seems as though the powers that be have probably stepped in and said, hey, like, it's a lot going on. And there's one specific thing that is happening that I told you all in my video about Drake 2 weeks ago. In the video that I did, Drake versus everybody, I told you all at the 16-minute mark, I think, I shared that with this continuation of this beef, Drake is going to be exposed, and the conversation about him and his inappropriate relationships with these teenagers and, you know, these younger girls is going to be a big conversation. And we've never seen it to this degree, and it is literally happening now. There is a song on the top of the charts where they're calling Drake a PDF file. Universal do not want their top artist, who is up there with Taylor Swift, make them lose money because of a silly rap beef. They're just not. They're just not going to do that. And you see that it's been, what, 48 hours since, 72 hours since Drake has released the song, Heart 6 or whatever. And now we have not heard anything from Kendrick Lamar, who was dropping songs back to back. And it might be that they're done. But I want to talk about a lot of the other things. But before we do any of that, we got to recap where this started from. So let's start there. So Kendrick Lamar and Drake have been beefing for a decade now. There's no secret. We've talked about that. They've been taking shots at each other for years at this point. But the Like That verse was the thing that took it from 0 to 60. Matter of fact, 0 to 100, like real quick. You had Kendrick Lamar jump on this track with Future on a produced album, a collaboration with Future and Metro Boomin, who Metro Boomin is not messing with Drake, and he won't tell us why. Kendrick Lamar, who's not ever a fan of Drake, and also Future, who is apparently recently fallen out with Drake. And the name of the project, the collaborative project, is We Don't Trust You, which is a play on Metro Boomin's tagline. And you got Future talking mess, and you got Kendrick coming on here like a surprise, like out of nowhere, and he's talking his mess and just saying, after Big Three, it's just Big Me. And this is a shot towards J. Cole and Drake. And on this song, it's a banger, like it's a bop. It's there. I enjoyed it. Like I told y'all, it had Memphis ties. 3 6 Mafia also sampled the beat that was used in their song, and I loved it. And Kendrick was flexing his muscles. He was talking his mess, just doing what Kendrick Lamar does. And it was just cultural conversation. Like, it was just rap. It was in-house to me. It was in-house. And people ran with it. And the internet got excited about it. Social media talked about it. And there were several conversations about, like, you know, Kendrick is back, like he's doing his thing, da-da-da-da. And, you know, J. Cole responded and did his 7-minute drill song that is now down because J. Cole apparently was told by Schoolboy Q, if I'm not mistaken, that, hey, like, you might want to bow out. Like, you might not want to be in this because, you know, da-da-da-da. And J. Cole, honestly, is probably the only one that is winning because this has went real left. And if J. Cole was in this, it would have been even worse. It would have been even worse. And that's saying something. But J. Cole, you know, dropped it and took it back. And you have Drake, who has a battery put in his back. You know, took him a while to respond. He responds with push-ups, taking a shot at Kendrick Lamar and his workouts and how he does push-ups and burpees and stuff, which is very hard to do. Like burpees, let me tell you something. I'm doing those, even just 1 minute of burpees, will get your heart rate up there. So I don't see how that was, I don't get that. But on the song Push-Ups, like Drake is flexing and talking and said, all these artists that are signed got you wiped down. Like, you are not their artist. You ain't doing nothing. Nobody's interested in y'all. I gave y'all number ones, like flexing, doing what Drake does, talking and reminding folks that I am the bigger artist. I'm the most talented. I am the one that gave y'all first number one hits, and I put y'all on and all of this other stuff. When Drake, there's this conversation, because I'm even seeing male podcasters like Maul, and other ones talk about Drake, and even Uncle Luke, who needs to be somewhere in a bed, laying down and taking a nap. Hear a conversation about Drake and, Drake is, he gave these folks an opportunity. Drake has been swagger jacking and being a cultural vulture for the last 10 years. Drake is a full-fledged culture vulture, period. The way he has swagger jacked Smino's look, and the way he did Dram with I Like to Cha-Cha, the song that Dram had that was a hit, when he did a version of that was so close to Dram's song that folks thought it was a remix.
It was just a little shocking because it came out as like the Cha-Cha remix. You know what I'm saying?
As is, not really Hotline Bling. At the time.
Right.
At the time, it was the Cha-Cha remix.
2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, it's just really weird. I ain't getting no reach out, no nothing or whatever. And I don't know, kind of it fucked with me for a long time until really? You know what I'm saying? Like that was my record.
Dram, is a very talented artist, and Drake, swagger jacked his stuff. It's been a long conversation about Drake coming to Atlanta, stealing the culture and making money off of it. So I'm not understanding how folks are saying, he gave y'all number one. He owes all of them. Like, how am I come to your land and do my stuff and then say, I'm gonna give y'all a little bit. Like, girl, what? You are benefiting from our culture. Drake is from Toronto, Canada. Like, all of his culture is around Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, and some parts of the Caribbean. Drake has never really focused on the culture in Toronto. Even the Sixth God, the number 6, is a play on the Zone 6 in Atlanta. Like, everything about him is swagger jacking. So I'm not understanding how folks are saying that he's giving folks number ones. He is a safe, palatable black that's able to do this nice boy, acceptable version of hip hop. We've seen this. Like, certain artists are able to do hip hop that makes the masses interested in it, that, an ordinary black person who is grown up in the culture. That is why Drake is being called white. Not because he is mixed or whatever, or light skinned. It's because of him being a true colonizer and gentrifying music and sound and culture that he was not a part of. Drake did not live in Memphis, Tennessee his whole life. He moved in a predominantly white area, and grew up in these neighborhoods. Like, he grew up in middle class? Like, Drake does not, and not saying just because he's middle class or have money that you can't have access to culture, but what culture are we talking about? It's a different situation with 21 Savage, even being called out for him, being from the UK, but 21 Savage was brought up in this area, in Atlanta, in the South. So he has ties to this. Drake does not. Even Lil Wayne warned him and told him that he does not have to come on rapping about a life that he did not live. Even Lil Wayne, his mentor, said this. Even Drake, who has went from the schoolboy nice guy to full-fledged rapper thug, it's just, who is he? So Drake dropped Push-Ups, and in the song he mentions Whitney, which is Kendrick Lamar's fiance, the mother of his children, and he has a line saying, I got the bodyguards around me like I'm Whitney. And come to find out, this is a play or probably a jab about Whitney having an affair with one of the bodyguards that she has. And Drake is, mentioning this. So some of the rumors are going around that Drake was warned by Kendrick's camp or whoever to not mention the family. Like, hey, don't mention the family, leave the family out of it, Drake was probably told this before Push-Ups came out. Like before, because these folks have folks who can talk to each other. You're not telling me that. On this track, Tailor Made, you got Tupac and Snoop Dogg being their voices and their likeness being used in AI, and Drake is using Tupac, resurrecting him from the grave without any, what's the name from the state or whatever of Tupac. Like, he's using Tupac to kind of tone down the conversation about Drake's inappropriate relationship with girls and young girls and all that other stuff. And you got Tupac talking all this like stuff and like, you need to come save it, And Drake is in his bag on this song. Like, he sounds very confident. He sounds like he's ready, like drop. He like, drop the songs. Like, what's going on? Wait for y'all. Like, what's going on? Drop. And you can tell that this is giving what Drake was doing with Meek Mill, like back to back. Like, I'm winning right now. And I told folks, I was like, Drake is winning right now because he's the loudest one in the room and nobody else is talking. Like, he's essentially winning because by default, because nobody else is doing anything. And for a while, people thought Kendrick Lamar was not going to drop anything. People thought that Kendrick Lamar was not going to. And that all changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
I looked away.
In this song, Euphoria, Kendrick is dissecting everything about Drake. Dissecting his identity crisis issues, his lack of confidence, his, just not being a man and just not having access to the culture. Like, Kendrick Lamar is dissecting this man in 6 minutes. 6 minutes eating him up, flow changes, all of that. And it's a good song. And it shook things up. And we thought Kendrick was done. Kendrick comes back with 616, 616 in LA, which is a shot at Drake because of Drake being known for his timestamp songs. Like, those are his best lyrical songs. Like, timestamp Drake is what they call it. I had no idea until I did some research about it. But apparently these songs are like when he's in his lyrical bag. And Kendrick is doing that and he's talking mess. Now, Euphoria to me was like, it was awakening. Like, I knew that it was about to get bad. In this song, Euphoria, you have Kendrick like saying that Drake, I don't think you like women. To me, I didn't take that as, the phobias. I took that as him saying like, you don't like women, you don't like grown women. And he talks about that. Like, he is dissecting Drake on a psychological level that is going to be a hard thing for Drake to swallow. And in the 616 Kendrick song, Kendrick is basically saying like, how you know that OVO don't work for me? Like, he's insinuating that he has a mole, like somebody is leaking information. Like, folks who do not mess with you are talking to me. Like, you got folks who, you've been paying for so long and they want to see you lose and they're telling me your every move. And another psychological thing, because is it true? And how can you tell it's true? Because Drake has so many people around him, because he wants to be liked so much. He wants to be enjoyed. He wants to feed his ego, and he needs all these people around him, and all these people around him are for him because of the wrong reasons. They're not being friends with him because they enjoy him or love him, or they enjoy what he can do for them. So Drake is on Instagram, which is funny because he won't go to Twitter. Drake will not go to Twitter. Instagram is his safe place because a lot of folks feel safer on Instagram because folks on Twitter, a lot of people on Twitter, they read. A lot of folks on Twitter are well read, and Twitter is their place where you have to be witty with your your tweets, with your writing. And that's something you can't really do on Instagram. And Drake is not going over to Twitter doing it because they would chew him up. They would chew him all the way up. And he is making comments about like, I'm about to push the red button, like it's coming. He has told academics like stay on live because he's about to drop, and he drops the song Family Matters. Now, Family Matters was Drake was really going there. Like, he was really on it. And to me, it did not have a cohesive theme. Like, you have Kendrick Lamar playing on the psychological level of saying all of these things, insecurities. The tone is the same. Drake does not have an official angle with Kendrick Lamar. He doesn't have a theme with it. Like, it's all over the place. And the only thing that he has is the alleged infidelity and the breakup with Whitney and Kendrick, which is interesting because Kendrick Lamar has already talked about that on his album, his last album, he talked about that. And that's why Kendrick said, you heard Mr. Morale and you fabricating these stories because you heard this album. And apparently we find out that he might have heard it, but he didn't really listen to it. Maybe he skimmed through it. When it comes to Family Matters, like, Drake doesn't have a theme. You have someone following Drake around, like he's getting jewelry, he's at his house. There is a tow truck carrying this purple van, which is a shot at Kendrick's first album, which is like a classic album. And he has the purple van being smashed, like it's being totaled and destroyed and all the other stuff. It doesn't go with Family Matter. It's not cohesive. It's not cohesive at all. Like, if it is Family Matters, we're thinking about the show Family Matters. Like, you should have, like, he did Euphoria with the show situation. You should have took a show that maybe, takes a what's the name or has a theme towards like Kendrick. Like, are you calling him Urkel or something? It doesn't really fit because we don't see Kendrick Lamar as Urkel. We don't see him as Urkel. It should have been something else. It just wasn't the right angle. It just did not work. Some folks like the bars and stuff on there. They enjoyed it. The album that Drake is taking shots at is the Good Kid, Mad City album, which is like considered a classic as far as like people have said that's the best like hip hop album they've ever listened to. Drake is taking shots and basically calling Kendrick a beater, like just saying that you like do these things to your wife and that's why your wife left you and you was doing this, for a while in this relationship with your wife, and brings up like you wifing up a mixed queen, like you trying to get the slaves free. It's just, you can tell at this point for me that the psychological effect of the music and the stuff is now getting towards Drake. You're not telling me that Drake is not on Twitter looking at the stuff. Like, even though these like celebrities and folks pretend to not be on Twitter, they don't be engaged, they look, because Twitter is a thumb on the culture. People are not going to Instagram to look at what's going on with the state of the culture. They're going to Twitter. You can see the trending topics, what people are talking about. You can also go to TikTok, but the algorithm is not, to me, there yet, especially when it comes to this conversation. Like, this is more my demographic, my age group, are talking about the state of the culture and stuff. And Drake is paying attention to that. Drake bringing up the alleged stuff with his wife, it doesn't hold weight because in the same the same person who has been shouting out Tory Lanez, the same person who shouted out Chris Brown, like someone who has did these things that you are alleging Kendrick did to a person who they was in a relationship with. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And trying to say that Chris Brown is a real like thug, they're saying that Chris Brown being a thug is the same way a person who gets in a fraternity during grad school. Like, you didn't really go through the real process. You had it easy. I don't know anything about Greek life, but I found that hilarious. Like this song doesn't really, like, to me, the video and all the other stuff, it's just not cohesive. What's the funniest thing about this is Drake trying to insinuate that his child and Kendrick's son are the same color. Drake, your child is white. Kendrick's son looks like a black child. Like, your child is white. Both of them sweet kids, you know, but your child is white. Like, let's like, is it the braids? Like, let's be honest. So we don't even get a chance to enjoy Family Matters because Kendrick, in less than 30 minutes, drops Meet the Grams and eats. Like, the way Meet the Grams starts, it reminds me of the piano, the first time we ever hear a piano on Game of Thrones. And the first time we heard a piano on Game of Thrones was during the what? When Homegirl blew up the Seth. She blew up the church. That's how I took this. Like, blew it up. Like, took all of his thunder. Basically a Dear song addressing his son, his mother, his father, like everybody, even folks who are around him, calling him a PDF file, saying that he surrounds himself with folks who have charges of trafficking and all. Like, he is going there. Like, you can tell Kendrick is like, nope, I'm eating you up, period. Like, I'm going there. And he is calling everything that has been said about Drake and his inappropriate relationships to the forefront. Like, it is there. And I told you all that it was only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. And I feel like Drake knew it was coming. He knew, but you cannot prepare for something like this. And it just takes everything away from the Family Matters. Like, it's irrelevant at this point because he's ready. And it also continues the conversation that he might have a mole in your camp telling him everything, because the fact that he knew you was going to do some of these things and already had something prepared. Like, this is somebody who is prepared. He's already said that you are calculating. Like, he can predict your every move, everything that you're doing. He can predict it. He knows how you're moving. Like, Kendrick Lamar, this is not just rap. This is a person who understands how to play, how to get the things done. And he's doing that. Like, and it seems quite easy for him. He doesn't seem like he's stressed out. He seems like he's just doing it. And Drake is on the defensive. And Kendrick Lamar is not even done with Meet the Grams. Later that day, we get Not Like Us, which is a West Coast banger that is so good that the LA Dodgers are using it now. They played it on ESPN during a basketball game. They are playing it in the club. Like, folks in New York are hyped to it, dancing to it. Folks are on the West. Folks are everywhere. DJs are talking about they played it, and everybody is moving. The song is being liked, bombed on YouTube. Folks are liking it up, watching it. Meet the Grams is like doing the numbers. Like, the last two songs he put out are doing better than Drake's songs. Like, the songs that Drake are putting out are not getting the visibility that Kendrick's songs are getting. And Not Like Us is the nail in the coffin. Like, it is the final, like, I feel like Kendrick doesn't have to put out anything else at this point. Like, Not Like Us is accepted. Like, Kendrick Lamar is playing the game, and he has said, y'all want to say I can't put out like bangers and bops and stuff? I'm finna show y'all. And the culture is on his side. He's already said that. He's already said the culture is on his side. Everybody is now on Team Kendrick. And I'm seeing this conversation online that folks are saying people have switched now on Drake and like they done turned on him. I really can't stand when folks say that. I hate when folks say, oh yeah, I done turned on such and such. First of all, nobody owes anybody, any celebrity or any artist permanent loyalty. I don't know why folks don't understand that. You can do something and turn off a fan base or an audience that they do not want to consume you anymore. People are not turned on you. First of all, they don't know you. They don't know you. You need to be doing everything in your power to make sure they don't. But some of y'all don't, because y'all don't understand that the folks who are supporting and listening to your music is the reason why you are as rich or successful as you are. There's no other way around that. Like, y'all don't have the wealth that a person who owns Disney, a person who is owning Universal and all these other, like, y'all don't have that type of money like that. You all need these people to be able to consume you, to be able to make money. And artists forget that. And I think Drake forgot that. And Kendrick Lamar is very aware. He gave the culture a bop. He gave them a bop. He gave something they can dance to. The OVO, like, it's being said, like, people are now crip walking to it. They're crip walking to it. Like, he said, you know, they think they're gonna let you, the bank gonna let you disrespect Pac like that? Child, I think Oakland might be your last stop. And child, like, Drake is not about this life. He's not about this life. And Drake knows that. And you can pretend online as much as you want to, but stepping out in the real world, that means you have to spend even more money to protect yourself. And not like us, well received. Everybody loves it. It's doing the thing. He's calling out Drake more, like saying the same stuff, consistent thing that you are not like us. You are not the culture. You are not under this stuff. Consistent throughout the last couple of songs that he has put out. It's consistently hammering the same thing. And Kendrick is not defending anything. He is not responding to the allegations and stuff. He already said, you talking about Mr. Morale. Like, that's what you're talking about. He's not addressed it anymore. Like, Kendrick is not on the defense.
And I think the reason why Kendrick is maybe not defending himself is because this was a conversation that was brought up years ago on The Breakfast Club. He did an interview and Angela Yee asked him about accusations. And this is what he had to say.
Story about you. And I was like, there's no way this is true.
Yeah.
When they said you were in Vegas and you beat some guy bloody and you did something to some female.
Yeah.
And they said they had evidence and all of this. And then I never heard anything about it again.
Yeah, because it's foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most ignorant stuff I've ever heard made up.
I was like, Kendrick did that? I doubt it.
And, you know, that person whoever made that up owes an apology. Not to me, but to women that actually go out there and get abused. You dig what I'm saying? That's a real issue. And to be putting a person name that you know that stands for someone way more better, that's been raised way more better than that. That's not cool. It's people out there that really get abused, and there's women out there that get abused and don't say nothing, and you know, live their lives through that. So that's.
But I was like, I'm sure if that happened, there'd have been a police report. You would have been arrested.
That's foolishness. That's ignorant. That's all the way ignorant.
I don't understand, but this is definitely that. And Drake lets us know that he's definitely playing the defense with his next song, The Heart Part 6, where it sounds as though Drake is defeated. Like, Drake is dropping this and it seems as though he's just tired. He's not interested in the lies and stuff that's being made about him. Like, he never has looked at a teenager ever. Honestly, I'm working on a video right now of more than 7 times that Drake has had an inappropriate relationship, or someone has had to come out and say, oh, I met him at an age, but we were just friends. It's not looking good. And the video of you hugging on that girl and when you found out she was 17, still talking about how good she looks, that's not the only thing. It gets worse than that. I cannot wait to drop that, because folks talking about where the receipts at. It's everywhere. Y'all are just not looking for it. Y'all are not looking for it. And y'all not surrounded by folks who are actually talking about it, because it's been a long-term conversation for a minute. Drake, you know, Millie Bobby Brown. He brings up that Kendrick has never said anything about Millie Bobby Brown. Like, Drake is moving as if we do not know about these past. There are articles and stuff about your alleged relationships with folks, like you knowing them at the age they were 16, 17, and then you end up in a relationship with them at their 23 and 24. Like,
what is a secret you kept from your parents? When I was 16, I said that I was like going out with my sister, and we were just like going out to dinner, and we went to the Drake concert instead. They never found out for like years, and then my sister and I ended up telling them when we were older.
It's giving rumor, like it's giving that. And, you know, he's defending, he's saying that, and he is basically saying, oh, I, you know, fed y'all information. Like, you ain't fact checking. You got to come with the real tea. You telling fake tea. I gave you that information. I fed you about that child, about that 11-year-old daughter, because Kendrick has brought it up about, you know, the 11-year-old daughter that Drake allegedly has. And there are some rumors about Drake having an 11-year-old daughter. Nothing official has came out. It might not ever come out because it seems from what some folks are saying that it might be locked in a real tight NDA. And granted, even if it's not true, the thought in everybody's mind is that Drake has lied about it before and did not come and say anything about it. He lied about omission. He never did say anything about it for the longest until like it became a big conversation. So, you know, Drake responded to that after Kendrick said it. Like, I ain't never had no child. Like, he even called academics and told him, say, I ain't got no 11-year-old. Why he saying that? And he posted on Instagram and said he don't have an 11-year-old. So does it make sense for you to be defending it if you have the tea that you fed this information? You document it. Drake is very loud, loves attention. Why not document how you were feeding this information so when he drops it, you already are ready for it? I knew he was gonna do that. So this is what y'all gonna say, like, this is what he gonna talk about. I told him about the 11-year-old. I fed him the information. Like, this man is a clown. Instead of calling Kendrick a clown, Drake has essentially called himself a clown. Because in the next couple of lines, he said the folks who are feeding you this information are all clowns. Like, multiple double negatives throughout this whole song. Like, it's not making sense. You're saying that you fed information, but you said the person is a clown. You're saying that you gave them the information, but you're not documenting, putting it up. It's not making any sense. It's not making any sense. And you bring it up and defending the Epstein stuff and saying that if this stuff was true, you would be in jail. Yikes. 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 And using Epstein as an example, when Epstein was able to have a whole island where he was doing like these things and not caught, not in any serious like situation criminally, because he had money to protect himself. I don't think I would have used that as an example. I don't. But the reason why Drake had to respond, because I'm telling y'all, the team told him he had to. I'm telling y'all, the team told him he had to come out and, you know, like, this can't be it, because now his career is on the line. Like, it's not even about this anymore. It's like, you might lose endorsement deals.
And while I'm in the middle of editing this video, people are under posts about Drake's Nike shoe drop, making all types of comments. And if you think these brands are not paying attention, you don't get it.
No brand is going to want to work with you or partner with you during this right now. Like, folks have been dropped for less. Like, Rick Ross was dropped after the Molly Champagne situation. He had a deal with such and such, and they dropped him because it was a conversation. And that wasn't even that huge during that time. Like, we are more aware now. Like, Me Too, after Me Too, like, folks are more aware that we're going back and looking at some of the stuff. Even other verses where on the song with Drake, Lil Wayne, and other of the folks from Young Money were talking about every girl in the world. And then you have this Mac guy talking about Miley Cyrus called me in 3 years.
In about 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus.
And he's out here defending you. You got folks who are defending Drake, saying that, you know, oh, like the person is 18. What's the issue? 18 is legal and 17 is legal in the state of such and such. It's just like, girl, what? These are the people who are defending you. These are the folks who are on your side. Yikes. So if Drake has fed Kendrick Lamar this information, the Maybach glove and the prescription and all that other stuff, like, you know, where is the documentation of you, like, saying that you fed this information? Like, what is going on? You should have been more prepared, and you were not. This song, like I said, is proof that the psychological toll this has taken on Drake is damaging. We've never seen Drake like this before in the 10 years of his career. The psychological effect of Kendrick Lamar, like, talking about all these things and talking about the culture that he does not have access to is a big conversation now. It's a big conversation. The culture is not on Drake's side right now. You had someone who was successful and had the culture behind him for so long, now seeing a reverse of that. Like, he's been exposed. Like, he has been, exposed as a fraud. Like, goes back to what Kendrick was saying with Euphoria, with the beginning of the song being a reverse of I'm a fraud, like I'm a phony from The Wiz. Essentially what Kendrick was saying, the same message throughout all of his songs, that he is a fraud, and it has worked. People now see Drake as a fraud.
We have to remember that Drake is the one that took it there, and Kendrick Lamar took it further. Kendrick warned him in so many ways. Do not go there. You do not want to go there. Like, this is a friendly fade. Like, this is something that you do not want to do. He told him. And Drake, being the narcissist that he is, the ego got the best of him, and it allowed him to be exposed. And now he wants to end it. Now it's too much. You were like, you were doing all of this talking, saying, pushing the red button. You were talking mess for weeks. And now that Kendrick took it further, you are saying this is beneath you. It was beneath you from the very beginning, considering who you are and who you're supposed to be. You should have never entered it, but you let your ego get the best of you, and it exposed you for the fraud that you are.
I think Drake will probably bounce back, but it won't be in the same way. And I think it's not going to be in the same way because of two. It has affected him mentally so bad that now he's going to be critical of his body of work. Now he's going to be thinking when he gets in front of the microphone about all the things said about him. And all of this stuff is going to play. As a content creator, as a person who does this, if your mental is not good, it is hard to be creative. If you are not good, if you're not confident, because there has to be some level of narcissism to get and do these things. There has to be some level, because you have to believe in yourself, period. You have to believe in yourself and show confidence. And the moment that is not there, the moment people will be able to smell it on you. And they're smelling it on Drake right now. They're smelling it with this last record. You have folks who were believing in him who are now saying, I don't know, I don't like how he bowed out. Like, it's so bad that folks who were going up for Drake are now feeling the pressure to be like, you might want to check your sources. You might want to move on, because you are going to alienate yourself against a lot of folks who are not going to be on your side, not going to be messing with you. And people have every right to do that. People have every right to choose a side and say, nope, I ain't messing with him. This whole situation honestly takes me back to the other rap beef we saw earlier this year with Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion. Honestly, the same tactics on a different type of level, where, Nicki Minaj, who's been reigning for so long, who has been doing her thing for 10 years, like Drake, both of them signed to the same label, working under Lil Wayne, have lost a rap battle beef, who spiraled because of narcissism, because of them not being able to reckon with that they are not good. They're not good. They're not good. You saw two folks who are supposed to be rappers, putting out bops, who the culture was not feeling. The culture was not feeling Nicki Minaj with this battle rap beef situation with Megan. And Megan did not respond. Megan did not respond to that terrible Bigfoot beef. And this is that. Drake now has his Bigfoot era and his Meek Mill era. He did not have his back-to-back moment. Drake did not have his back-to-back moment. And I think he did not have that because he did not see Kendrick Lamar as a worthy opponent. I don't think that Drake saw Kendrick Lamar on his level, and that was his first mistake. And all the animes that I have ever watched, that is the one thing that gets the folks messed up. You not considering or taking your opponent seriously. You are not taking the opponent serious, and they're able to take advantage of that. Nicki Minaj did not take Megan Thee Stallion seriously, and it showed in her music. Drake not taking Kendrick Lamar seriously, and we see how that worked out. it is looking bad for Young Money at this point. Now that we've talked about all of that, I want to talk about how the culture in hip hop winning has come with the price of women. And I've seen some folks talk about it, and folks have been talking about that this has been an abuse off, like this is a Me Too versus Me Too, like both of them talking about these things, and neither one of these men have shown us that they truly care. Kendrick Lamar, who has worked with Dr. Dre, who has a disgusting past of doing things DV to his ex-wife, and not just one but multiple. That has been a conversation. Also, Kendrick Lamar having Kodak Black on his last album or project, and Kodak Black, who is a full-fledged colorist and someone who also has been accused of DV and has been charged with things. So it's not looking good. Drake, who wants to be like, oh well, you doing it too. You sit up here talking about you care about him. Drake does not care about Whitney experiencing these things. Like, all this stuff is in the benefit of you. Like, you do not care about this woman and her potential or alleged abuse. Like, if you did truly care, you wouldn't have brought it up on this song. You wouldn't have brought it up, period. But we've already saw that you don't care because you shout out Tory Lanez, a person who you've had beef with in the past. We saw you side with Chris Brown, and you were someone who was interested in dating Rihanna, and you went and did a song and became cool with her past abuser. Like, it's not making any sense. Neither one of them truly care. Kendrick Lamar, who has said, the F word on one of his songs of the previous project when talking about his trans relative, and Drake taking that and misgendering this very trans person. Like, we are watching these men like use women and queer folks like in this type of way. Like, it's disgusting. Like, you have Metro Boomin right now on Twitter making fun of Drake having his nails painted, and folks saying no Diddy and all this other stuff. Matter of fact, FD Signifier just did a video about the no Diddy stuff, which has been taken off online. Like, you have grown men saying no Diddy. They're more concerned about Diddy and his activities more than the alleged abuse. Like, this is hip hop. This is the state of hip hop. It always has been the state of hip hop. And my only pushback is folks who were saying that when we were listening to these things and engaging in the conversations and stuff, it makes me think about all of the songs that we have heard over the years from these men talking about women. Like, even going back to the original rap beef with Roxanne Shante, she talked about her experiences with men and misogynoir. And even in battles and stuff, she had to deal with men who were calling her an ape and offered her bananas to keep her from rapping. Like, she even talked about her experiences of advancements and things. And there's so much history behind Roxanne Shante. I find her a fascinating figure. And she has a documentary on Netflix, so I feel like it should be even more conversations around her. But just women over and over and over and over again have endured this with hip hop. And we still have not gotten much. So with even the quote unquote culture and hip hop winning, once again, it is at the cost of women. Even looking at the commentary around the rap beef, most of the podcasters and the folks who are reacting to the music have been men. It's been a bunch of men in chairs and microphones and stuff getting millions and millions of views. Every once in a while, you'll have like a female co-host who doesn't really like speak much. It's a male-dominated genre, and it is very clear what type of men are, running these things. Like, it's just, it's a lot. But I am not surprised with any of the things that were said and with any of these men, to be honest. Like they all have shown us over and over and over again that they are not our saviors. I don't expect them to be, even if they are trying to cosplay as that, with Kendrick, referring to himself as the Messiah and all that other stuff, and so many like ways he is, supposed to be this token person, this chosen one. And it's funny, I've been seeing videos and stuff of folks making him an anime character or this powerful entity or whatever. It's just, what are these men using their powers for? These men have been throwing allegations of things they have done to women, like to harm women, like at each other. That, some of it is some truths in it. But again, this is that. Like, this is the battle. This is the conversation. Even if Kendrick Lamar kept it with culture, the culture is all of this. Like, all of these things, massage noir, great culture. All of these things that Roxanne Shante experienced in the early 1980s. So not much has changed. And we really need to check ourselves and look at the music and things that we are consuming. And it is time for a reckoning, but I don't know if we are truly ready for it. And it is interesting seeing folks defend certain people, because I'm seeing a replay of the defense that was given to Kelly when he was doing his things. And I will be talking about that in a future video. That's all I got. Subscribe if this is your first time. If you're not subscribed, support, like, comment, tell me your thoughts. Until the next time, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.